Well, someone who knows very well about the effect of floodwaters is my next guest. I mentioned the politics this afternoon with the split between the coalition partners, the Libs and the Nats. Looks like it's going to be short-lived. In the middle of the negotiations has been Deputy Nationals Leader Kevin Hogan. Kevin, I'll get to the politics in a moment. You and I talked a lot in 2021 about the Lismore floods. You've got a property up there yourself. You lost stock. You know firsthand how bad this has been. How are you feeling about this happening again in that region? It's just heartbreaking.
Steve, it is, and you know, my prayers and thoughts are with those communities, the Kempsey community, but we know Taree as well, but that wider region, they have really been smashed, as we know. But Steve, what I really feel for them about is, yes, they've just gone through the really dangerous period. We've had 4 loss of life, which is terrible, and the really scary part of that natural disaster. But what is about to happen is, as I think, is equally as traumatic. As the water subsides and you start cleaning out the mud and you literally have people throwing their life out of their home onto the footpaths, or their business life out onto the footpath, as it's all been destroyed by flood. So they're going to have a really traumatic time. And I was talking to Alison Penfold today. She's a new member for Lion who takes in Taree, and I'm going to go down there this week to spend some time with her and her community, because this is going to be a long road and a really emotional, traumatic road for a lot of those people.
Back in 2021, we talked a lot about whether the reaction from state and federal governments was quick enough. You know, you were very pivotal in making sure that the conversation continued. It seems like it's been a bit quicker this time, but this is such a massive event, Kevin, that I guess they can't get to everyone everywhere.
Yeah, look, and it's never quick enough because, as you said, the events are so big. I was talking to the State Minister today, who's going to be responsible for the recovery effort. I mean, she's aware of what has to be done. Sometimes at the moment, with the recovery side of it, we have to wait for the water to subside before you can get in and start the clean-up. But, you know, we're aware of the job that needs to be done at both a state and federal level. So it will happen. It won't be quick enough because of the magnitude of the event. But there's a lot of work to do, a lot of trauma to go through. And, I will certainly be down there with Alison this week, because that community is going to need a lot of hugs as well as everything else.
In a sense, politics should take a back seat to what's happening. We should be more worried about those poor people. I mean, I've heard about farms losing huge amounts of stocks, dairy herds being decimated, all of that. But I have to ask you about what happened this afternoon. What are you hearing about the Liberals' decision? They met twice within 24 hours. You were pivotal in the decision of the Nationals to walk away from the coalition. Is it back together?
Well, Steve, I hope so. Our intention always was never to break up the coalition. We always wanted the coalition to come through and sign an agreement. But look, what the good news for us today is the Liberal Party Room has had the opportunity to look at the 4 policies that we want to stay on the table, and it seems I've given very positive feedback. So, for us, for me, for regional communities, I think around the country, that's good news, because that's about increased infrastructure for the regions. It's about better telecommunications for our regional areas. It's about a better deal for farmers dealing with supermarkets for our regional community. So these policies were dear to us, which is why we wanted them kept on the table, and I think it's great news the Liberal Party Room has made that decision.
Yeah, from my point of view, the policies are just common sense. That's what they are. I mean, Malcolm Turnbull, a former Prime Minister, Kevin, he couldn't help himself, had to stick his nose in, as usual, on the ABC. He claims you're putting a gun to your coalition partner's head. Have a listen to lamentable Malcolm.
This holding a gun to the Liberal Party's head, which is what the Nats are doing, is really, really unwise. It's stupid politically, because if Susan Lee agrees to it, then people will say, there you go again, the Liberals are doing, the tail's wagging the dog.
What do you make of that?
Well, let's not talk about the policy. What were we asking for that was unreasonable? Should the bush not have proper telecommunications? Should the bush not have proper investment into our infrastructure, into our health, into our childcare? Should the bush not have our farmers be able to negotiate more fairly with the supermarkets? Because that's what we're asking for. Let's talk about the policy issues. So I think they were reasonable. But, I do make this point, Steve. I mean, Malcolm Turnbull once spoke about ex-Prime Ministers being miserable ghosts. He's becoming one of the biggest of the miserable ghosts that we've had in ex-Prime Ministers.
David Littleproud safe as leader?
Absolutely. He's led very well this week. It was a big call. Because, Steve, this again, no, there's been very little talk this week in the media about why. You know, we talk about who, what, where, but why. We did this for a principled position on 4 policies that we'd taken through the coalition party room process, and they'd been approved. We couldn't let them disappear because, with all due respect, a lot of Liberals don't like 2 or 3 of those policies. So we didn't want them to disappear for our regional communities and the importance of them for our regional communities. So David led us through that process, and hopefully now with the Liberal Party Room having had the ability to have a look at it and discuss it, we might get it, which I think is great for the coalition and great for and well led by David.
Good to catch up, Kevin. Good luck with your inspection of the floodwaters at the weekend. That's Kevin Hogan there.